Welcome, everyone. Grand Gnosis Master Dr. Thor Templar here. We're going to talk about one of the most important areas of extreme empowerment that really hasn't been covered well. This is one of these areas that people seem to ignore mostly because of their ignorance in the field of the occult sciences, which is a science and looks at things much more from the mystical viewpoint that so many occultists look at things, being involved with nebulous spirits, god forms, and other things that seem to be extremely unreliable. Regardless, if you want to contact spirits, god forms, or any other types of energies, you have to be in a particular state of consciousness. Now, this type of consciousness is called the Gateway Consciousness 1. Gateway Consciousness 1 is the state of consciousness you have to be in to be able to access extreme abilities and move into Gateway 2, which activates everything. But if you don't go through Gateway 1, you don't have a chance of achieving anything. So this is what we talk about when we talk about trances and other things, which we've talked about for many years. Nothing happens in normal consciousness, nor would it. Anyone who does anything well or to the extreme or has extreme abilities, whether that be in stock market trading, playing a sport, doing any high level, musicians, scientists, etc., are all working out of a gateway consciousness state. Now, these are not something you generally sit at a table or at a board and calculate something. All people that have achieved great things, including scientists, have all stated they've gotten their informations through very indirect, non-concentrative ways, meaning they're not concentrating on figuring something out. They think about something, it goes into their consciousness, and it then is given to you in a gateway state to you. Einstein stated that he got all his information, although quasi-good, when he was doing other things, playing the violin. He believed he got some of his breakthroughs while just riding on the streetcar in San Francisco. Many other people have had breakthroughs or information given to them of extreme amounts. Things that are critical have come in dream states, have come while people are jogging, walking, listening to music, etc. You're not concentrating on it, but your inner magical being is, and they're working out situations and figuring out ways to give you this information. So, if you're trying to make something happen from normal consciousness of a occult science nature, it's not going to work. You have to go into mini trances. You have to go into the gateway state 1. That's gateway state 1, and that means you have to get in a particular consciousness vibration, a consciousness energetic vibration. Now, we can only describe these right now because of the failure of common science, the scientists with their goo-goo understandings, and where all the money has went to the idiots and the stooges. And of course, we haven't in any way done proper research on the human brain, which of course is the key to everything. We somehow think that a faulty human brain is then going to create some sort of machine that's going to make up for our faults. You're just going to get a faulty machine. It's the absurdity of this is beyond even comprehension. But if you're in the proper gateway state, you'll understand what I'm talking about, as I've talked about in so many of my audios. If you don't get it, then it's because you're not in the gateway state. So, how do we know what this gateway state is? How do we create it? Well, we do have a lot of information on the gateway state to extreme abilities. And it's very important. Everybody wants extreme abilities. We all want to have great influence, great manipulation of energy forms, whether that's people, places, or things, so to speak. You want to be able to produce high levels of success in all areas of your life. You want to be able to heal. These are all the things that we all want to do. Now, in the occult sciences, we do this by the known technologies, which everyone can easily work with and improve their life dramatically. And that's creating energetic, scalar energy fields around them, or what can be called an occult science magnetic energetic scalar field. So the whole idea is this is a field of information that is magnetic in nature to draw things to you. Now, successful people have this normally. People who are very successful are able to create these things, draw people to them. And a lot of these people, as I've spoken in many of my audios, are almost bumpkins. They're idiots. We can go through one person after another, from Richard Branson to Steve Jobs to Bill Gates, etc. These are not exceptional people. They have an energy around them that is able to bring in people that really work for them. All of these people have been successful because of their charisma, as commonly used. One of those goo-goo terms that science gives us. With that, they are able to create things. So there are people who meet everyone, who people like. We do this all the time, and it has a lot to do with we're attracted to someone or listen to them because we kind of like them. Everybody likes them. We've seen this particularly in the media and in movies. Well, you like someone, you don't like someone. I like this person, I don't, and you don't really know anything about them, good or bad. They have this, people just like them. Why? So, this is how all of these things are done out there, and they're not necessarily talented, smart, or anything else. You just like them. Why is that? So, because they have that field around them. Now, most people don't have these fields around them. That's why there's, quote, special people in certain areas. And you have to create them. So, an occult scientist creates strong, energetic, magnetic fields around them for money, relationships, health, success, etc. And then you empower these fields at a greater degree when you need it. So, if you want to have greater success in your life, then you empower that. If you're looking to meet someone, you empower that field. And that's how the occult sciences works, and it works pretty darn good. But it's not the Hollywood effects that we want. If we want to meet someone, we want to have the influencing ability to walk into a place and mind control them. I mean, that's really what we all want. Let's get real. So, if we're sick, we want to be able to heal ourselves rapidly, quickly, or others. We don't want to make a few $1,000s more a year. We want to make tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands through empowering whatever we do to a high level of success. That's what we really want. Now, this is generally not possible at this time. It happens occasionally. Occult sciences are able to manifest these things occasionally, but that isn't good enough. This happens maybe 5% of the time if you're a studied, trained occult scientist. The rest of it is building these energy fields. And your life turns really good because you constantly are bringing in positive energies to change your life. Magic works with you and not for you. And it works throughout your life. We want more to move into make magic. Make magic means you directly influence things. Now, as I've mentioned, there is some of that going on when people inadvertently create gateway states and are able to do it. Now, how are gateway states created? So, first of all, and what are they? Well, I've mentioned it's difficult to describe them, and of course I can in a more technical occult way, but it doesn't sound too good to people. Let's use what we know in the more common scientific understandings. And things are measured, or at least electromagnetic fields are measured in hertzian energies. This is a very primitive way of doing things. But of course, this is what we're left with because of the idiot science who hasn't went out there and figured out how to measure energy fields correctly. I certainly can. We have certain tools that measure that, more electronic in nature and non-electronic. But you give a person a high-quality electronic tool, and if it's not used correctly by a trained person, it's worthless or give you poor results. But moving into this tool type area, now there's been an awful lot of study gone into all of these realities. And these realities are the fact that what is happening when people are creating these extreme abilities, this make magic reality. what is happening in their consciousness state that is easily measurable through hertz detection devices. So, hertz is named after hertz, which is a frequency of electromagnetic energies. 6 hertz, 10 hertz, I believe it's your alternating currents is set at 60 hertz, 60 hertz per second or whatever it is. This is a way of measuring, and when you put an actual meter to an electromagnetic field, you'll find out what hertz level it's at. Now, we've measured things like the Schumann resonance, which everyone talks about and seems to have some importance, where the Hertzian energy, the electromagnetic field, which is only part of our energetic fields, but we have to deal with that because of the, as I've mentioned, the lack of proper common science, is approximately 7.8 to 8 hertz. Now, you know, the 2%, 0.2% there from 7.8 to 8 really isn't all that critical. It's in the area. And it's close. So the whole idea is we don't really know. And that shifts. This is a productive, energetic field that all life is created from. This is what balances you. This is what empowers you, etc. as a species living on this particular planet. When you move away from this for any periods of time, as research goes, you tend to get physically, mentally depleted. You become sick. Astronauts in space have to be exposed to 8 hertz fields so that they can regain their strength properly. Everything grows and maintains in this particular field of empowerment. Now, there's a lot more to it than that in terms of these more occult energetic fields. But what we need to understand is that this is a critical energy that researchers have tested people for over 30 years now, probably 40, 50 years if we get down to it. People like Andrei Pusharik, who's a medical doctor as well as a researcher and well known in his field, was initiated by kahunas, was involved with and studied mushrooms in Mexico. So this guy knows a lot, worked with Uri Geller and actually brought him to the United States. And we can go on and on, was a great researcher, developed hearing devices, and did so many other things. Dr. Patrick Flanagan, everybody's heard of him with his neurophone, his research with dolphins, his crystal energy waters. Russell Targ, the investigator from SRI Institute, and many others, top people in their fields, top researchers, parapsychologists, and others. A very noted one who traveled the world doing this was Dr. Bob Beck, an electronics master and a person who has studied these areas, was very much into biofeedback. Now, with biofeedback, this is all about sensing certain Hertzian states and getting into different states of consciousness. And these different states of consciousness we've heard about. And I will go into these things in other audios, but for this one. So what did they do? Bob Beck, who was at the biofeedback, the head of this, spent many years traveling, selling biofeedback instruments, making them, etc. Went around the world, literally, selling these and lecturing about it. Very, very important because this person is the expert of the expert when it comes to this. But he was not the only one, as I just mentioned. But what he did is he went all around, including, as stated by him personally in interviews, fully initiated kahunas, Tibetan masters, all types of advanced healers and psychics, etc., and had them get into the state of their extreme empowerment. They had these abilities. They were able to do things. And of course, you know, this is all part of life. Some people do things at higher levels than others. I mean, most people can do tasks at a pretty good level. Not very many people can master something. They just don't get it for one reason or another. These are masters. So what he did was strap electronic equipment on them, as everybody else did. And what mental frequency were they in? Well, they were in 8 hertz. Here we go again to the gateway 1 consciousness state. Now, again, this is a crude Hertzian frequency. There's a difference between scalar energetic fields and Hertzian. Everything is not in the electromagnetic spectrum. Psychic empowerments have been shown to not be, because psychic messages were transferred through Faraday cages into vaults down at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, lots of research has been done to find out if this is electromagnetic in nature, and they completely screen people from any electromagnetic effects of energies. And by doing this, they were able to find out that the psychic messages got through anyway without a problem. There seems to be no way to block psychic energies. The biophysical, when transmitted, cannot be stopped. It may be able to be disrupted and have decreased energetic impact upon you, meaning can it affect you, but it will get into your consciousness and you will detect it, while it may not be strong enough to do anything if you do certain protective elements. But what did all these people find? Well, we have Bob Back's interviews on the primo of primo shows, the Bill Jenkins shows from the 80s, 70s and 80s, talk about this. So we highly recommend that you listen to those on the website and follow the link from this actual audio so that you can listen to those yourself. They are free. So the whole idea is that this is it. Everybody found this. Of all the great researchers, the gateway state 1 is 8 hertz, meaning it's not the fact of getting into 8 hertz that does this for you, and that's important because 8 hertz is around us. You can fill your body with 8 hertz, and this is a gateway, and it's important for you to understand that. It doesn't empower you. It's similar to reaching the state of gnosis, where you have all the information that the planet and universe has to offer, but that doesn't mean anything, because you have to apply it in your life and in the way the world works, and that is very difficult to do. So this is part of the route. So you have to get to the gateway. That's very, very critical to understand, and I'm going to cover that in further detail. But getting 8 hertz into your environment and before, after, and in general to pump this frequency into your reality is extremely important for the occult scientist. You have to get your consciousness vibrating those states of energy. So this is very critical to understand. So every single person who's been a healer, been a great psychic, been a great no matter what it is they've done, people who are doing remote viewing, all the things, is when they strap on to find out what state your mind is in the crude frequency-based Hertzian fields, it is 8 hertz or close to that. Plain and simple. So if you're not functioning from that as an occult scientist, you're not going to manifest much at all. Plain and simple. We'll pick this up in audio 2.